and welcome to KPFK's Arts in Review. I'm your host, Julio Martinez, celebrating the best in live theater and cabaret in the greater Los Angeles area. Well, it seems that Group Repertory is bringing back a play that is based upon one of my favorite films, Harold and Maude, which came out in 1971. And I have one half of the title, Maude, Trapped in Studio. So please stay tuned to my interview with Miss Janet Wood. And you've been here before.
Yes, I have.
You formerly did London Suite at Group Repertory Theater.
Yes, we did, and we had a wonderful interview with you then, and I'm so happy to be here now.
So I have to ask you, you've done so much theater. You're a founding member of Group Repertory Theater. How did the part of Maude come to you?
Well, we work on a subscription basis where we have a schedule of shows that we can offer people. And so when I saw that Harold and Maude was one of the shows, I got so excited because Maude is a part that I've wanted to play my whole life. Ever since I saw the movie, I was just enamored with her. And she was the person I hoped to be. As a matter of fact, Colin Higgins, who wrote Harold and Maude, he hired me to be in the movie Foul Play. Ah. And I played Sylvia, the movie theater countergirl. And he was so gracious and took my hand and introduced me to everyone, including Goldie Hawn. And then when I got to know him a little bit, I asked him about Harold and Maude. And he's the one who said, Harold is who I was, and Maude is who I aspire to be.
That's wonderful. Now, I'm interested in how Group Repertory works. It is a repertory company. You do have an ensemble of actors who are there all the time. Yes,
we have members, we have associate members, we have technical members, we have a playwrights unit. And right now, as Harold and Maude is playing, upstairs we have another show running, Love or Best Offer. And so, yes, we are almost always doing two shows at the same time. So we're so busy that we have to fit everything in on our time schedule.
Yes, I recall your artistic director contacted me about a year and a half ago and asked if they were interested in doing portions of my book, The 8 Plays of Christmas.
Your Christmas Origins, we did 2 years in a row. Were so wonderful. It was so successful the first time that we did it, the second time, and we added more material from you. So, as a matter of fact, I also do a foster children's party every year that I produce, but of course we couldn't do it the past 3 years because of COVID, but I took excerpts of your play, and I made up a tape to send all the kids. Oh. And so they just love that.
Oh, that's great. Now, Harold and Maude, you have alternative cast, isn't it?
Yes.
And you're performing this weekend, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yes, I am.
Friday, Saturday at 8 p.m., Sundays at 2 p.m. And this is at the Lonnie Chapman Theater, which was named in honor of the great actor and founder of the theater, and it's located at 10900 Burbank Boulevard in North Hollywood. And I'm going to let you know now, to get tickets, you can go to grouprep.com/performances/Harold and Maude.
Yes.
And you will get there. So I have to ask, you've always wanted to do it. You're directed by Larry Eisenberg.
Yes, he's wonderful.
So how much time did you have to prepare?
Well, Larry came up with a very interesting way of doing it. Both pairs of Harold and Maude were required to be at all rehearsals. So if you weren't doing it, you were watching it. And how he would work it is that one pair would do the first act. The other pair would do the second act. And the next rehearsal, we'd switch it around. We also switched around the people. So sometimes I would work with Landon, and Clara would work with John. And so we'd get used to the other people as well. Ultimately, then, Larry chose who would work with whom, and that's how we ended up.
Wow. And how long did you have to rehearse?
Well, we started playing around with it in December, the end of last year. And then we went into rehearsals in earnest in January. And there was a very heavy rehearsal period. I was there almost every single night from 6 to 10 or 11, and then every weekend during the day. So it was intense. I have never done a play with this much dialogue in my life.
So, what time, when during the rehearsal period did you feel MAUDE finally clicked within you?
I would say really, maybe the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I kept searching and trying different things. I play MAUDE very differently than Clara. My MAUDE is more feisty and tough and out there. And so I couldn't quite solidify who she was. And I also do her with a little bit of a New York accent.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So it took me a little longer to find her. And, of course, Larry helped tremendously. I always wonder this. You rehearse without an audience for most of the time. Yes.
When you finally had an audience for the first time, were you surprised where the laughs were and weren't?
I knew there were so many laughs there, and I thought I knew where. But when you get an audience, sometimes you're right, and then laughs come in places you never even imagined. We have a seal in the show.
A seal?
A seal. And when Muggsy is on, I figure I might as well just stop talking because it's his stage.
Is this a real seal?
Not exactly.
Well, there's always that age-old dictum, don't work with animals.
But I have a story about how that happened, how the seal came in. May I?
Oh, please.
Okay. When the movie came out, it was not seen by many people in 1971. But when it went to Paris, they just loved it. And a producer, her name was Micheline Rosanne, she contacted Colin and said she wanted him to turn it into a play. And then she contacted 2 of the most famous actors there, Madeleine Renaud, who played Maude, and Jean-Louis Barrault, who directed her. Well, he loved the play so much, he wanted to get in on it. He was also an actor. So he came up with the seal. And so he got to play in the show as the seal.
Well, that'll do it.
And then all of France just fell in love with it. And then the movie, that boosted the movie back, and then it became a cult hit.
Oh, sure. Now, you're performing, I said, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Then you have a week off with the other cast.
The other cast.
And then you're coming back the 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Correct.
And 19th is closing night.
Yes, it is.
So you get the closing day performance.
Yes.
Because that's a matinee, right?
Yes, that's a matinee.
Well, that's nice.
Yes, it is. It is.
So has the play been successful for the audience?
We've been remarkably successful. The audience, I I have gone to see several of the other cast performances, of course, and the audience just screams with laughter. And I was fortunate enough that one of Colin's dearest friends, he was Colin Higgins' business partner and collaborator. His name is Jim Rogers, and he attended one of my performances. And he is the president of the Colin Higgins Foundation, which supports young artists. So he was very complimentary, and having seen 30 MAUDEs, things like that. And, we get standing ovations, and it's really thrilling because MAUDE is not just a comedy. It has some very tender parts, some very sorrowful parts.
Now, one thing I remember from my last interview, you were raised in New York, and you had a very interesting arts-filled life from a very young age. When did you start performing?
Oh, gee, I begged my mother to let me go to dancing school when I was 5. A year younger than my sister. And then I started taking acting class in New York. I lived in New Jersey, actually, and then traveled to New York. And then I started studying acting in New York when I was about 13 or 14. And starting working then, one of my first jobs was the Mighty Arts, what was it called? Johnny Carson Mighty Art Players.
Oh, yes, sure.
And I did a little skits and things like that.
He had a little repertory company doing that.
And then when I started working in New York, and I got my SAG card doing a commercial. And I did little movies here and there. And then when I came to visit my friend in California, I had a whole little stack of people to look up. And I did. And it seemed like this was the place to go. And when I moved here, I started working right away in TV and film. And
well, one of the things that happened to you in New York I was fascinated by, you were cast to play anybody's in West Side Story.
Well, I was asked to, but I auditioned for it. It was my very first audition, and
you must have been able to dance very well.
I was a good dancer and a singer. I had just started acting school, so I didn't really know how to act. But I went on the audition, and they told me, "Now don't dress up. I want you to wear cutoffs and a sweatshirt and your hair in pigtails." So I said, okay. And I was about 16 at the time. And I passed the singing part, and I passed the dancing audition. And now it was time for the acting. And I thought, gee, I don't know what to do. So I said, well, I guess I'm just going to listen to what they say, which, of course, is a big trick in acting. And they said, well, we want you. So then I knew that I really couldn't do it. And I went home to my parents, and they said, my father said, no, you're 16 years old. You're not going to do it. And it was a tour, a 1.5-year tour in Japan and America. And so although I got offered the role, I was not able to do it. And they were right, I was way too young.
Well, if you had done it and come to L.A., I would have been ushering at the L.A. Philharmonic.
Oh!
Which I did. I would have seen it 3 times, which I did.
Wow, wow.
That's amazing. Because that's also one of my favorite roles. Anybody's was the little street girl who tries to get into the gang.
Into the gang, right.
Yeah.
She's always hanging around.
So, you did come to L.A., and you worked quite a bit. There was one show you were recurring on, wasn't it?
Oh, there were a couple of them. I did 2 soap operas where I was a contract player.
Right.
That was Days of Our Lives and Young and Restless. And then, so many. I've done
Three's Company.
Three's Company.
Monk, 6 Feet Under, Charm, The
good.
Wonder Years. You did the film's Foul Play by Colin here.
Foul Play, yes.
A Late Separation. In fact, that won the Monaco International Best Film Award.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And I was very proud of that. Zach Smith directed that.
So, most people who get on stage in New York come to L.A. not to be on stage. They want to be where the money is. They want to be on film and television,
right?
Which you did. But then you tended to have a yen to get back on stage.
Well, I was on stage right from the beginning. It started in 1973, and stage to me was a home that you always had, and TV and film, I love it. It's wonderful. And I, of course, don't have as much control over when I do that. But I do have control over when I can be on the stage. And that I feel like the group rep is truly a family. And I think we take care of each other. And I don't know if there's any other small theater that can claim to have been in existence for 50 years non-stop.
There are a few.
There's are?
Theater West, there's Theater 40. The company that used to have the record of it went out of business, but those are some of the few, yes. And Theater 40 is located on the campus of Beverly Hills High School, so they have a ready-made home. They even have a ready-made activity. They do little play performances as part of the school's nighttime adult program.
I didn't know that. That's wonderful.
So that helps finance the repertory season that they have. So that's good. But you have a lot of things going at Group Rep. You have acting workshops, directing workshops. I think the second stage upstairs is a great place. You almost can try out material and see if it works its way downstairs.
Well, absolutely. It's a beautiful it's a beautiful space and a way for people to act and do projects that maybe aren't quite made for the larger stage. But, yes, we're very proud of all that. And we're going to have a big 50th gala this year.
When does that happen?
I think it will. We were talking about May, but we never set the date. But I will certainly be a part of the preparation for that. And that'll be a wonderful celebration.
Wow. I have to repeat, my guest is Janet Wood, who's playing Maude in Harold and Maude. She alternates with another actress, but she is performing this weekend, March 3rd, 4th, and 5th at the Lonnie Chapman Theater, which is what the group rep has been named in honor of their founding artistic director, and it's located at 10900 Burbank Boulevard in North Hollywood. And to get tickets to Harold and Maude, you can go to grouprep.com/performances/Harold and Maude. And if you don't make it this weekend, you can also catch her in 2 weeks on the 17th, 18th, and 19th. If you don't catch her then, it's too bad, because the 19th is the final performance.
One thing I would like to say about Maude is Maude, to me, it's about choosing life and celebrating your life and being who you are. And I think with Maude, despite some of the terrible things that are hinted about in the play and the movie, she always chose to live it fully, and as we all should.
Right. I must say, it's a pleasure having you here. What's up on your agenda? Do you have another play coming up? Or are you going to be on another film or television role?
Well, there's always the film and TV things, there's always those possibilities. I was on a commercial recently for Lively, and that ran quite a bit. But yes, you never know. You're always you get an audition, you get a callback, and then sometimes you get the role. So you never know what's coming up next.
Well, I want to really thank you for being here. My guest has been Janet Wood, and the play is Harold and Maude, currently running at the Group Repertory Theater, running through the 19th. What's next for the Group Rep? Do you know what play's coming up next?
Yes, the Laramie Project.
Oh, that's an ambitious project.
Yes, they've already started rehearsing.
Right. And this is your host, Julio Martinez. I will be back next week. In fact, I'm here every Friday, followed by Donna Walker, the host of Pacifica Performance Showcase. So for all of you that support KPFK, and you're the reason we are here, I want to thank you and have a great, hopefully drier week. See you next week.